Hi everyone and welcome to a new comparison between two action cameras. Today we have a look at the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 versus the brand new DJI Osmo Action 6. DJI wants about 380 euros here in Germany at the end of December 2025, while Insta360 wants 50 euros less by the time I record this video here at the end of December 2025. Let's have a look at the bodies very quick. So Insta360 has a 1/1.3 inch camera sensor, a Leica lens, a 157 degrees field of view, an ultra wide lens. Now they offer also a star filter, so as anamorphic lenses. It's available in two different colors, in white and in gray. We have a lens with a fixed aperture of 2.6 and it weighs 180 grams with its 1800 milliampere battery. By the way, on the website it says 1650 milliampere hours, but I looked on the battery and it says 1800 milliampere hours. To fully charge the battery it takes 45 minutes and from 0 to 80% using a quick charge adapter, 18 minutes. You have 3 microphones, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth to have remote control using your phone or your tablet. You have a tilt display, that means you can film yourself using the full screen of your camera, while the mini display on the front only shows you the mode you're in and the time for how long you're recording or how many pictures you took already. I would love to have either the option to have just a live preview of what I see on the front screen, or to decide if I just want to see the settings. But I wouldn't go skiing or snowboarding with the display tilt in my direction. You can dive down to 10 meters and 60 meters with the extra underwater housing. You have 2 compartments, one to charge the camera via USB-C, the cable was included, and the other compartment for the battery and the microSD card. It has no internal storage and I can highly recommend to get a 256 gigabyte memory card for this camera. On the website they say V30 is enough or sufficient. However, to avoid long buffer times I would still take a V60 card, which I use to take all this footage here. There's no tripod thread on the lower side and you have that magnetic mount from Insta360, while DJI provides you with a 1.1 inch camera sensor, so it's slightly bigger than the one from Insta360. Maybe it's also better for low light shots, which we will have a look at the end of this video here. It's available in one color and the lens has a variable aperture f2.0 for low light shots and f4 for shots during the day, for instance. You have a field of view of 155 degrees. It weighs 150 grams with its 1950 milliampere hour battery. It charges extremely quick and it has also 3 microphones, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. It has no tilt display, but you do have a front display that shows you the mode you're in, and you can use it also as a live preview and make some adjustments such as the resolution and frame rate, for instance. It is waterproof down to 20 meters and 60 meters using an underwater housing. It has also 2 compartments, one to charge this camera via USB-C and the other one that holds the battery, so as the micro SD card, which you can use up to 1 terabyte, and it has an internal storage of 50 gigabytes, which I love a lot, just in case you forgot your micro SD card at home. However, I can still recommend to get an extra micro SD card because 50 gigabytes can be full quite quick. There's no tripod thread either on the lower side, but you do have the magnetic mount from DJI. Let's continue with video. Insta360 lets you take videos in 8K up to 30 frames per second. Of course, you can downgrade to 25 or 24 frames. It lets you also shoot on the entire sensor with up to 60 frames per second, 4K with up to 120 frames per second, including audio, and full HD videos with up to 240 frames per second. Keep in mind that you do need a lot of ambient light in order to avoid high noisy footage. Both cameras feature also a low light mode, which we will speak about in a few moments. You have free frame video that lets you shoot either in vertical or in horizontal, and you can decide later on whether you would like to export it now for TikTok or for YouTube with up to 60 frames per second. Slow motion is possible in 4K with up to 120 frames per second and in Full HD with 240 frames per second. Of course, you have also a lock profile filter that you can use straight onto your video, and it gives your video a special look. Then we speak about the DJI Osmo Action 6. After the firmware update, which I have done just after Christmas, I can record also now in 8K with up to 30 frames per second, or I can use the entire sensor with up to 60 frames per second. 4K is also possible with up to 120 frames per second, including audio, and Full HD, such as on the Insta360 with 240 frames per second. It has also a super night mode that lets you capture in 4K with up to 60 frames per second, and you can now shoot also using the entire sensor to export that footage later on for Instagram or for YouTube with up to 60 frames per second. Both cameras offer you a grid in order to balance the camera to the horizon, and slow motion is possible in 4K with 120 frames per second and in Full HD with 240 frames per second. You can also shoot in a log profile, and for the first time DJI provides you with internal filters that I use during the night, and the cool thing is you can also adjust the intensity of the filter. Now I have some footage for you in landscape as well as in portrait mode, with image stabilizer, without image stabilizer, and of course an audio test, and we speak about the low light performance shortly. But before we continue, if you like videos like these, you can support my channel using the supporter link in the video description below that guides you either to Insta360 or to DJI. There you can find also all the accessories I use to record this video, so as the memory card, the tripod, and as well as this cool looking power bank that supports 165 watts. It has included 2 USB-C cables, which you can use to quick charge this camera or either of these 2 cameras, and at the same time it allows you to charge your notebook and do video editing at the same time. Now let's continue with the video. Insta360 Ace Pro 2. You're listening now to the internal microphone of this camera, recording myself in 4K 25. Internal microphone, DJI Osmo Action 6, 4K 25, recording myself here in a forest near Cologne. It's a wonderful day. December 2025. There is a truck which is loading some trees, and that's the internal microphone. I'm recording myself in 4K 25 here at the beginning of December 2025 with the DJI Osmo Action 6. DJI Osmo Action 6, and you're listening now to the internal microphone of this camera, recording myself in 4K 25. Because both cameras do have a low light mode, which is called Pure Video on Insta360. It lets you capture in 4K with up to 60 frames per second. However, the lower the frame rate, the better the result will be during hours of darkness. So I would either use 24, 25 or 30 frames per second, because the camera needs the double amount of shutter speed in order to expose correctly. So if you shoot in 4K 30 for instance, the camera requires a 60th of a shutter speed. And the higher frame rate you use, let's say 120 frames per second, the correct shutter speed would be at a 240 of a second. That reduces the incoming light, and the camera has to push the ISO in order to expose correctly. I tested both and I found out that the white balance is a bit more accurate with a DJI than with Insta360. Insta360 does have natural colors, but Insta360 takes a bit longer to adjust the white balance during the night. So I was walking in Cologne in some streets. Some had these orange lights and the other part of the city had these white LED lights, and it took a bit longer to adjust for that white balance. Of course, you can take also photos with these cameras. Insta360 allows you to capture these with 50 megapixels. The better your micro SD card is, or the quicker your micro SD card is, the less time it takes to buffer all these files. Insta360 lets you capture with 50 megapixel in JPEG and in RAW. You can adjust the field of view. In 16:9 it's 37 megapixels, and you have also a live photo that you're used to maybe if you're an iPhone user. So the camera takes a 12.5 megapixel photo. It looks like a small video sequence with audio. With both cameras you can adjust the field of view, you can take a series of shots, and you have a timer function. While DJI lets you take photos with up to 38 megapixels in RAW and in JPEG, a fast memory card is preferable, but you can also use the internal storage. And if you shoot in 16:9, the camera lets you take photos with 34 megapixels. Both cameras have features such as hyperlapses and time lapses. On a hyperlapse, you can take your video in 4K with 30 frames per second fixed on the Insta360, and with either 25 or 30 frames per second with DJI. So the camera is recording a video and accelerates that video, and you can revert to the real speed anytime by a simple push on the icon on your screen. And then the camera starts to continue recording with audio. And both cameras have a timed capture function. That means you don't have to wake up in the middle of the night to take a nice night sky photo or time lapse. You can set it before you go to sleep. Both cameras will turn on, start to record, and shut off automatically. I know both cameras do offer Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, but I can still recommend to get a mic adapter for both of them for about 20 to 30 bucks. Because with this mic adapter, you can attach all the other microphones out there that support a 3.5mm jack. Both cameras also support gesture control, voice control, pre-recording. Both have now filters and lets you shoot in a log profile. While Insta360 brought out so many lenses this year, like super wide angle lenses, anamorphic lenses, star filter lenses, and they do also offer an extra grip that turns your action camera into a small digital camera with a 3.5mm jack. It has an extra grip and an internal battery. And it has also a road mode, which some people asked for. While on this road mode, you have a timestamp and a date stamp on your video, and turns automatically on when you start the engine, and it saves that video after you shut down your car. And some people also ask how to pause a video. That's not possible with DJI, but it's possible using the Insta360 Ace Pro 2. While the best feature is that if you play back your footage on the next day, you can even start to continue with the clips you took already the previous day. Now I have some low light footage for you that I took in Cologne and in Frankfurt in 16:9, 9:16, and most of them were shot in 4K with 25 frames per second. Let's summarize. Both cameras offer you a really decent video quality, so as a nice photo quality. While on DJI you have now also internal filters, 155 degrees field of view, an extreme long battery life, and the bigger camera sensor. Insta360 has that Leica lens with a field of view of 157 degrees. It offers you many lenses to attach to this camera, also an extra grip, and the battery life is longer with a DJI. However, the batteries I used here on the Insta360 are in use already for 9 months. That's now my personal opinion. I do like the app interface more with Insta360. It offers you a bright design, bigger icons, while on DJI it's gray and black and really small icons, but that's my personal opinion. Insta360 offers you features such as tilt display, a pause function, and a dashcam mode. So which camera do you have, or which camera are you going to buy? I'm pretty excited to hear about your thoughts and your opinion about all the footage that you have seen in this video. If you do have any further questions, please make sure to leave a comment below, and if you would like to support my channel, you will find these cameras under my supporter link in the video description, such as the accessories and the rest. All the best for 26, and see you next time here on the Daniel Live.